This is the Real Life Alchemy podcast with your host, Sarah Linhares. Please join me once a week for deep chats and incredible stories about real life alchemy, transformation, creativity, consciousness, and the future. Okay, guys, I'm very happy today to be joined by a dear friend of mine, Natercia Caneira, who is also an incredible visual artist. And I'm just going to tell you a bit about Natercia. She studied fine art in Lisboa and as well at the Harvard University of Boston. She has exhibited internationally, Morocco, Portugal, London, UK, Boston, New York, and she has presented and done an artistic residency here on Madeira Island 10 years ago, which is where I met Natercia at the Projector residency. So she creates expansive, ephemeral, emotional, visual art using drawing, painting, site-specific installation, sculpture, and performance art. Does that sum it up well, Natercia?
Yeah, totally. But you get me impressed with all that.
Actually, it's quite impressive to read your biography. You have done a lot. Yeah, you've done a lot of very interesting work. So I'm very pleased to have you on today because you share passions with me, which is creating, making art, and also the spirituality of life and the incredible unknown creative process. And so you have really been important on the last 10 years of my journey as an artist and as a person. So I'm really grateful to share your wisdom with the people today.
Thank you.
So just to summarize how we met, 10 years ago, we both attended the Projector artistic residency here on Madeira Island for 1 month, the month of March. So it's exactly 10 years ago, this March. And we bonded over talking about life and philosophy and making art and talking about being artists. And what would you say that experience was?
Well, for starters, I totally remember when I first met you and we started talking. I guess in my memory, we were both of us a little bit lost, trying to change our lives in a way. We felt like same feelings about art and about trying to find a different path. You with music at that time and me with the installation.
Yeah.
And I remember that in the beginning of the residency, I felt like maybe, that was not the right path for me at the point. So I was a bit confused. I knew that I needed to change something.
Yeah.
But I was not sure of what.
Yeah.
So after, I don't know, like half a week or something, being there with you, and after all the time we spent talking and chatting about, our struggles,
yeah,
it made me realize that if I would lay back a bit and accept the experience in full, something would come up.
Yeah.
And we bonded in that notion of, okay, maybe we should just, take life as it comes.
Yeah.
At least for now. And then I realized that was, paying off in a sense in terms of work. So things were like, fluid and becoming more and more relaxed.
Yeah.
And we managed to find a space every day to kind of work, but at the same time to talk about all the things that we care about and all this energy and
Yeah.
spiritual experiences and awareness.
Yeah.
And in the end of the residency, I just felt, okay, you know, I was not sure in the beginning if this was you know, a new door into my creative process. But in the end of the residency, I just felt, okay, I found it. This is it. This is the combination of work as an artist with, you know, the enough time to think about it and relax and just being open what comes, you know, without controlling as much as before. So
Beautiful.
I think that's, you know, the big thing about that moment 10 years ago. And also, I mean, our bond, because in a way we kind of opened the same door into
Yeah.
a same new, you know, path at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And we've been keeping up with it, you know, and it's been 10 years. And I
Yeah.
think, yeah, everything changed since that time.
Everything has changed, but you know, that moment, that time we met and we spent together was a really transformational moment for both of us. And we wanted so much to make art and do our thing, and yet we were struggling with our personal experience of it, and exactly that thing of control versus letting go. And I think a huge part of that retreat taught us to let go into the unknown, and through that we were able to receive what we needed to know to take the next steps on the path.
Yeah, totally. So I think it was the beginning of a journey
Yeah.
that we are like kind of keep going.
Yeah.
And it totally changed in a sense. Not maybe not the residency
Yeah.
or the island, but you know, much more like what we learned together back
Absolutely.
then. Yeah, so it was a very, very interesting experience for me. It changed my perception of how to direct my career or what it is, my work,
Yeah.
into a much more relaxed, quiet attitude and serene place inside
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah, and one thing I think that's so interesting is the fact that we bonded so deeply because we had such similar desires and goals and thinking and life path in a way. I think something that was so important from that was this: we formed an alliance, like and we became allies because we are both artists, but we're also on the path of consciousness and on the path of wanting to know deeper who we are and how the world works. So over the last 10 years, like, our relationship as friends and also as allies really grew. And I think that was a huge support through this very turbulent last decade that we've been through, especially
Yes.
through COVID times. I think our talks really supported me and you as well so much in just focusing on what was important and always making the space and the time for learning, for being, for flowing and not controlling, exactly like you said, and also doing it, like making the art and allowing that to be a priority, even when doubts, fears came in. And they always come in when you're an artist, right?
Right. Right. Yeah, I think you touch the main point of this like 10 years was a gradual evolution together as allies. But I think, yeah, I think with COVID, the begin just from the start of COVID, and from that moment on, I felt, and we talked about this, I felt like it was the graduation period of our journey.
Yeah.
where we had to learn how to cope with the world and the reality as we know it in society,
Yeah.
being all by ourselves, and lean on our creative process to breathe, to have our own safe space or safe environment in such a tumultuous moment in time. So in a sense, I think that, after, with the end of the restrictions with COVID, I just felt like, okay, was 10 years, we've been doing this for 10 years, and it's so obvious that there's a practice in terms of working every single day, being all, having like your empty, alone space as stabilizer of our own emotions and doubts and all the inner conflicts that come out of being an artist in such a speed world or fast world or whatever we want to call it.
Yeah.
And so I was saying a graduation because it was the moment that both of us realized that, there's no escape, being an artist is something that it comes with you.
Yeah.
And
it's not a choice. It's not a choice.
Not a choice, totally.
But it is a choice. But
yeah, but the thing is, I think when I say graduated, we graduated from that period with a sense that there's a part of us that needs to accept that it's not easy, it's not something that you can, it's serious. It's not something that, it's something that I do as a career or whatever. But I think we realize that it's much more than that. It's deep inside of us. And, it's very lonely.
Yeah.
And it's... So I think like the restrictions of COVID just made us realize how lonely it is.
Yeah.
And with that, we managed to find, some kind of support in spiritual questioning, and also in my case, a lot in meditation.
Yeah.
And being quiet and acceptance, acceptance that things cannot move as fast as you want them to move.
Absolutely.
And there's a reason for that, in a sense, kind of a faith, a faith in something that kind of an order, an organization that we cannot see. Yeah. But that allows you to move further into different path that, maybe that you would never think taking rationally, but that will bring you into a much better situation than you thought. So it's that kind of hope and faith that comes out of acceptance. Yeah. So that's, what I mean with graduation from this 10 years period of, searching for something.
Yeah. So perfect, because I want to dive more into that whole thing, which is you have a big experience with meditation and meditative states. And I want to talk about how that impacts your work, or what you have learned through that process, and how important is that to you?
So yeah, even before we met 10 years ago, I was kind of a bit aware, but not totally aware, and I was not really diving into the subject, but I was already, sorry.
No worries.
My headset. I was already kind of aware, not aware, but I had already integrated in a very, soft, chill way, the fact that being fully on the moment working, for example, on my drawings, that's where it started. I was able to kind of discover new parts of myself, new messages that I could convey through my artwork that I was, not aware from the start when I would, start, drawing something. So I was conscious that there was something there about time and slowing time and being on the moment, but I was not really like using it in a, very rational, conscient way, like acceptance. I was not really, I thought, okay, this is something that I have, probably related with memories and things like that, but that was it. So, and I start realizing that around 2007, 8, because back then I was doing, big drawings and many exhibitions related with drawings. Where I would just sit down at the table drawing, and the drawings were so slow because I was using a technique that was very slow and so complex that would take me like 3 months to everyday work to do a drawing.
Okay.
And I would just dive into the paper, and at some point, late at night, I would just kind of, like feeling like totally absorbed. And
flow.
Totally in the flow
Yeah.
for such long time during the day that when I would like kind of stop for a bit and look at the drawings, I would feel like a little bit scared. Like, what am I doing? I don't even know. Maybe I'm a bit like out of the zone,
Wow. Like your state of consciousness had altered, would you say?
Yeah, I would say that because I was not aware of my thoughts while drawing. I was not aware of the time going by.
Yeah.
I would just stop, and even the pain in my hand was just not there until I would stop.
Whoa.
And then I would be drawing for the entire day, and it's night. And I'm like, okay, there's something wrong. I would stop for a bit, and I would feel like my hand was like, like hard and painful. And I had not had lunch or any food the entire day. And I would look at the drawings and I'm like, what is this? I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So in a sense was, and then I start realizing that what was showing up in the drawings were like kind of memories of moments or emotions that I've been going through before. And they were popping up slowly, like in these abstract constellations of elements. And I could only see that after doing like, let's say, a series of 10 drawings, big ones. And I'm like, okay, there's something here that I can relate, but it's not that obvious. So in a sense, I was aware that I would enter a different state of mind. And after, I'm like, okay, so for me, the relationship that I have with paper and drawing is very intimate, so much that I don't even see myself there. It's like part of me is there. I can, feel it.
Yeah.
But it's, some kind of a meditation state or something. I don't know. Yeah. So I was not diving into trying to understand what was going on. I was just accepting that I would have a special relationship with drawing.
Yeah.
Which is not that difficult to think, because when you study, all the artists and all the art history, you realize and that drawing is the most intimate tool for an artist to express themselves, because there's, if there's a mistake, it will be there. If there's an indecision, will be there also. So it's very transparent. It's something that it shows a lot, your personality and your state of mind. So
Wow.
I was not, like, oh, this is weird. No, I was accepting it as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Later, let's say, I don't know, like around 2011, 12. And I was always doing drawing my entire life and sculptures and site-specific installations.
Yeah.
But around 2012 or somewhere around there, I started realizing that I would have the same mental state when I was doing my site-specific installations. The thing was that I was doing it always. I'm always working alone. So
Yeah.
I before I was not sure, but around that time I decided to start recording myself working. I would put a camera
Oh, wow.
in the room and forget about the camera and just do your, installation. And the way I work with installation is that I set up, there's a specific room, and I just start creating these kind of spider webs with threads.
Yeah.
So it's very organic.
Yeah.
So I was a bit curious to see how I was doing it from
Oh,
my outside, like let me record it and see how it works, because there's no plan. I just have the materials and I start, going up to the ceiling, going down, going to the wall,
yeah.
so I needed to know. And then when I started later looking at the recordings, I'm like, oh, it's kind of the same thing as drawing. I'm just not really present, but I am a tool of something. I'm like,
You're an instrument. You're channeling,
yeah,
actually. You're receiving what needs to come through you.
yeah. And I could see, that my face, my eyes, my expression, my body language was not the same. I was really immersed in something.
Wow. Yeah.
So, but this is a very private thing, because I was not showing this to anybody. I
Yeah.
was not doing, these installations in front of nobody. I would have the room for myself for 2-3 weeks, and then there's an opening and people see the installation, but they don't see how it's a very private thing.
Yeah.
So after a while, in around 2014, I had a collaboration in London with one of my colleagues,
Yeah.
and she works with photography. And I was there in London to do an exhibition of a site-specific installation with threads.
Yeah.
And I was there to do an installation, and she just, took it as an opportunity to take some pictures. She asked me to take some pictures of myself working.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt a little bit invaded in the beginning, but then I managed to, to relax and to move on doing my work and forget that she was there.
Yeah.
And after when she showed me the pictures, I realized that, oh, wow, this can be something, because I'm like, showing people how I'm doing things. And this is also interesting. It's very private, intimate.
Yeah.
So that was the other opening into being more public about it, and
Mm-hmm.
also enabled me to accept the fact that, maybe I can just also do performance
Yes.
and create this environment, these installations in front of people, so that they can see live what I'm doing, and even invite them to participate and create something very organic.
Wow.
And so, yeah, so that's a little bit the importance of the meditation in my process, because when I decided to go public and open up to do performance or live sculptures, like performative sculptures
Yeah.
with the threads, I was already sure that I was in the zone, and even if people talk or if there's music or noises in the room, it doesn't affect me.
Yeah.
So I
Wow.
felt safe enough and grounded. Yeah.
So my question is there something you need to do to get into that zone, or does it just happen organically? Like you're going to do it and you just start?
It just happens organically.
Wow.
for example, in a public site-specific installation, when the public is there, for me, what is important is to start from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes me in that state of mind, is the empty paper, or the white paper, the whiteboard, or the empty room. And I just have my material in front of me, and there's nothing else. Everything is raw. And I know that I'm allowed to do anything I want in the room. So those are like the conditions I need to start. And as soon as I start, I feel more and more, I grow confident. And I go, naturally like that. And as soon as I start, there's no way to interrupt me. Even if I stop to talk to the public or to answer a question or something, it doesn't really take me away from that state,
Wow.
I'm in that state.
That is very interesting process. So basically, without even knowing it, you were accessing, I would say, altered states of consciousness and flow state that allows you to channel, basically receive whatever's coming through you. Because I also feel the same way about making anything creatively. It's, you need to become an empty vessel, and then whatever is meant to come through you just comes through you. And in a way, it's not like we possess the creation, it's that we are in union, in a dance with that energy that wants to be expressed through us. And it's like you were saying, that you can start with that empty room, that empty page. It's the same process. So it's super interesting that you're able to access that. So I wonder if this is just your whole life of training in getting into that, becoming that open or that blank page, therefore allowing yourself to work with whatever needs to be worked with, expressing emotion or anything.
I've been thinking about that, and I think it's a lot related with feeling safe, being out of your comfort zones.
Yes.
And it took me a long time to feel safe, even being vulnerable at the same time, like feeling safe in my nakedness, being naked in front of everybody. And it was a long process. I think it's totally interconnected with being in the moment, being in a state of meditation, or at least a more quiet, serene state, to accept the fact that you're not comfortable, you're vulnerable to the outside. And so in a sense, I think both things, the use of meditation and serenity as a state of mind, combined with doing that in a non-comfortable, in a non-safe zone, I think is the two main elements that allow us to convey messages, feelings, ideas without being in the control seat. And without being very rational about what can I show, what can I not show. You just let it go, and you trust that it will take you somewhere interesting.
So, sorry, continue.
So in a sense, again, going back to the beginning, when I said that we kind of graduated after COVID, it's when I also realized, okay, these two elements are very solid, and these need to be present for things to happen, because if not, you're just in a circle doing the same thing one day after the other, and you're not really opening yourself to information or to feelings or to anything that you have inside or that you can convey from outside of you, because you'll be stuck in a logic, a rational logic. So in a sense, I think that's the combination of two that are mostly important in my process.
Yeah, that is so beautiful. I think that is a huge theme in being an artist, is to fuck the comfort zone, like we talked about, that being the title of this interview, because it's really, you have to kind of break free. It's kind of like the comfort zone exists to keep you safe, but in order to grow, in order to create actually something new, you have to leave that zone. And that is the uncomfortable, vulnerable, sticky place. And it's very like we spoke, or you spoke of, solitary, because often the getting out of the comfort zone is you being alone and saying, this is important to me, so I'm going to risk something to see what happens. And I think that's where real magic can happen, and real art, real creativity can come through only when we let go of that control. And as humans, that's one of the hardest things for us to do, is to let go of control, even though we're not in control of most things, which is hilarious.
Totally.
You know?
Totally. It's the acceptance. We have to accept that there is something out there that will be.
The unknown finds me here alone, restless, nameless, remote, something unfamiliar. I left all I knew behind. I left comfort at home. I went in search of something. And I don't really know where this path will go. Oh, yes, I walked away. I just could not stay. So